Jujutsu Kaisen has officially ended with chapter 271. Starting on the 5th of March 2018 in Weekly Shonen Jump, the series has grown to over 90 million copies in circulation. With the series conclusion, I'm starting at the beginning with Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 0. Originally titled Tōkyō Metropolitan Curse Technical School, serialized from April to July 2017, it acts as a prequel to JJK. The chapter starts with a secret execution, but instead of Yuji Tadori, we see Yuta Kōtō sitting inside an ominous room filled with seals. Gojo says that he doesn't know how many more people will be killed by the curse, and that Yuta will be looked after at Jujutsu High. We switch to a scene of Kōtō being bullied by 3 of his classmates, but before they are able to punch Kōtō any further, he screams out to Rika to stay away. As Kōtō trembles in fear, blood pools outside a locker in the classroom, with Kōtō repeating, "I'm sorry," as the locker door creaks open, revealing his mangled classmates within. We cut to Jujutsu Tech as Inumaki, Maki, and Panda are discussing Kōtō's incident and confirm that his classmates are alive. Back in the sealed room with Kōtō and Gojo, Kōtō tried to take his own life with a knife, but Rika interfered, leaving the blade twisted. Gojo tells Kōtō that he is starting his life at Jujutsu High, and that the curse attached to him can be used to help people, and that Kōtō should learn to control his power before deciding to throw it all away. We cut to the classroom with Gojo making an introduction for Kōtō as the new student of Jujutsu High. However, the trio do not seem excited. Gojo calls Kōtō into the classroom. The atmosphere changes and the trio see the shadow of Rika for the first time hovering over Kōtō. Kōtō starts his introduction, but the trio jump into action, asking if he knows that he is cursed. Maki explains that Jujutsu High is a place to learn about curses, not a place for people who are cursed. Gojo explains our first understanding of what curses are, a creation of negative energy that flows out of people, resulting in curses or evil curse users. You have to fight curses with curses, and that's what is taught at Jujutsu High. Gojo finishes his explanation on curses, and Rika manifests again, completely overpowering the trio. Flashback to Sendai City 6 years ago. Younger Kōtō is given an engagement ring by a young Rika, however shortly after, Rika is fatally hit by a truck. Kōtō stands in shock as Rika's body contorts into an ominous figure holding on to him, making a promise that they will marry once they are grown. It's a promise. In the classroom, Maki, Inumaki, and Panda are standing with visible damage as Gojo explains that attacking Kōtō may or may not activate the curse of Rika. Gojo describes Maki Zenin as a cursed tool user, Togi Inumaki as a cursed speech user, and Panda as Panda. Gojo pairs Kōtō with Maki as they are sent to a school for their first mission. Maki says that Kōtō has been bullied and that she would bully him too, describing Kōtō as faking being a good person, playing the victim and being passive his entire life. Panda interrupts Maki and apologizes to Kōtō on her behalf. Gojo sends Kōtō and Maki to an elementary school where kids have been reported missing. Schools are prime locations for curses, with a curse manifesting at this location naturally. Hospitals and schools are prime locations for the creation of curses, due to the negative emotions associated with them. Gojo instructs Maki and Kōtō to rescue the children and exorcise the curse as he calls down the veil. As Gojo leaves, Maki pulls out a weapon and easily disposes of several curses, leaving Kōtō in awe, explaining that weaker curses always band together in groups. Venturing further into the school, smaller curses are seen avoiding the pair, leading Maki to think that this is due to Rika's presence. Maki explains that sorcerers are ranked from 4th to 1st grade and demands to see Kōtō's student ID. Upon looking at it, she's shocked that Kōtō is a special grade. As Kōtō's rank is revealed, a giant curse appears and consumes Maki and Kōtō, leaving Maki's weapon falling to the ground. Inside the stomach of the curse, Maki explains that once the veil goes down, they will be rescued, but for now, they are on their own. Kōtō notices 2 school kids in the stomach, and Maki points out that they are already cursed and may drop dead any second due to being ingested by the giant curse. Maki goes on to explain that not everyone has an apparent resistance to curses. As Maki collapses, Kōtō notices a cut on Maki's leg. Maki demands to know the reason why Kōtō came to Jujutsu High. Kōtō says that he wants to connect with someone, be needed, and for the confidence to feel that it is okay for him to live. Maki says that Kōtō needs to exorcise the curses over and over again and that his goals will follow. Kōtō grasps the ring on his finger and calls out to Rika, fully manifesting her power for the first time, quickly exorcising the curse that swallowed them. As Rika's giant form tears apart the curse, Okotsu carries Maki and the children outside the veil, with a ghost of young Rika urging him to push through. Gojo welcomes back Okotsu as he collapses at his feet outside the veil, rescuing Maki and the children. At the hospital, Gojo confirms to Okotsu that Maki and the kids are fine. Gojo notices that something is bothering Okotsu, who confirms this is the first time he ever called Rika by himself, and that he remembers more about her now. Gojo states that it's a step in the right direction. Okotsu theorizes that he is the one who cursed Rika, not the other way around. Love is the most twisted curse of them all. Okotsu affirms that he will release Rika's curse at Jujutsu High. We see Gojo in a mysterious room where shrouded figures confirm Okotsu was entrusted to Gojo to avoid this very scenario. Gojo is scolded about the prospective risk of Rika going on a rampage, but Gojo confirms that he would have risked his life to stop Rika. Gojo states that it is unknown how a girl with no ties to Jujutsu became such a powerful curse after death, and that it is impossible to control something that we don't understand. The higher-ups state that Okotsu's execution was only postponed, but Gojo interrupts that he will side with Okotsu if the time comes. Gojo will not allow anyone's youth to be taken from them. As Gojo leaves the meeting, we see Maki training Okotsu on swordsmanship. Gojo explains to Okotsu that it is nearly impossible to dispel a curse like Rika, but Okotsu may be able to undo it, and that he is the only person who could achieve this. Gojo hands Okotsu a katana and explains that the ring gifted to Okotsu was a vessel for Rika, and that he should train his curse energy control to imbue it into his katana. Okotsu carries on training with Maki, as Panda confirms that it has been 3 months since Okotsu joined and how quickly he is progressing. Gojo confirms that Inumaki has been assigned to a mission and Okotsu will tag along. Panda says that Inumaki is the only second-year student who gets assigned missions as if he is a first year. Okotsu is urged to watch and study Inumaki as he has to learn about curses to dispel them. Gojo departs Okotsu and Inumaki at the mission site as he won't be here to supervise. The instruction given to Yuta is to not let Rika out, or else he and Gojo will be killed. Okotsu is told to contain Rika's power to only his katana. We are introduced to Ijichi, the assistant director at Jujutsu High. As Ijichi lowers the veil to commence the mission, Inumaki returns with a bottle of cough medicine. Inside the abandoned space, a giant flock of small fish curses are spotted. Okotsu remembers that weak curses flock together, but he's concerned that this must be too much even for Inumaki. Burst. Inumaki's curse speech destroys the flock of curses quickly, however his throat is now injured. Suddenly, a strange curse appears behind the duo, in a meditative pose floating above the ground. Okotsu can feel that the cursed spirit is different from the previous curses, as Inumaki commands it to twist. As the curse's arm is mangled due to Inumaki's technique, he falls to his knees while coughing, and Okotsu moves him out of the way of the curse's laser attack, with Inumaki's medicine rolling away on the floor. The duo decide to attack the curse together, with Yuta advancing with his katana, his training with Maki clearly paying off. Yuta slashes the curse, but the cut is too shallow. Yuta slides out of a counterattack and grabs Inumaki's throat medicine. Okotsu launches the bottle across Inumaki, who catches it midair while above the curse. We see the curse imploding as Inumaki yells out, "Get crushed." As Okotsu and Yuta high-five, an ominous figure in Buddhist robes is watching from a distance, disappointed that he did not see the curse of Rika manifesting. The mystery individual picks up Okotsu's student card, which fell during the battle, as he proclaims that he is excited to meet another special grade and return his card. Back at Jujutsu High, Maki invites Okotsu for further training, as Okotsu asks for tips to channel his curse energy into the katana. Maki tells Okotsu not to ask her about curse energy again. Ijichi apologizes for his oversight, which allowed a Grade 2, Semi-Grade 1 curse to bypass his curtain and attack Inumaki and Okotsu. Gojo tells Ijichi that the other party was too advanced with their plan, and reveals that the stranger is one of only 4 special grade sorcerers, the worst kind of Jujutsu sorcerer, Geto Suguru. We cut to a scene where Geto meets 2 women, with one of them being cursed. Geto absorbs the curse, however, once they leave he shows his true colors, referring to them as monkeys who can't use Jujutsu, rather than a monk who aims to help people. Following this, Geto meets with a businessman who begs for a curse on him to be exorcised due to his previous financial contributions to Geto. Geto explains that non-sorcerers are good only for gathering money or curses, and that's the reason why the man was useless. Geto meets his group and instructs them that he will draw down a veil on non-sorcerers and make a paradise for Jujutsu sorcerers. And to do that, he needs to take down Jujutsu High. We see Okotsu have an uneasy feeling on the grounds of Jujutsu High, while Gojo discusses the location of Geto and his involvement with a Grade 2 Semi-Grade 1 curse with Director Yaga. Their conversation gets interrupted as Geto appears on a giant bird curse, with Yaga summoning all grade 1 sorcerers to gather at the front of the school to meet him. Geto comments that the school hasn't changed at all, while his companions talk amongst themselves. The trio shouted Geto to leave the grounds, but in a blink of an eye, Geto is holding Okoto's hand, telling him about his truly wonderful power of Rika. The trio is shocked at the speed of Geto. Geto begins to spout his ideology of wanting to correct the contradiction of the world, that the strong need to protect the weak. Geto says that mankind is hindering their own potential by protecting the weak. Geto states that he will kill every non-sorcerer and make a world only for sorcerers. Geto asks Okoto's help with his master plan. Gojo arrives at the scene and scolds Geto for pushing his ideologies on his students. Gojo greets Geto, with Yaga and other grade 1 sorcerers behind him. Geto says that he heard that the first year students are exceptional, and that it's obvious that Gojo is in charge. Geto then calls Maki the failure of the Zenin clan, and that such monkeys are not needed in his utopia. This makes Okoto smack Geto's arm away from him, stating that he won't help those who insult his friends. Tensions rise as Gojo questions Geto's reason for being here. Geto proclaims that he is here to declare war. On the 24th of December, during sunset, Geto will release 1,000 curses in both Shinjuku and Kyoto for the night parade of 100 demons. The curse's instructions will be the elimination of all non-sorcerers. Gojo attempts to stop Geto from leaving, but Geto summons a giant one-eyed curse and leaves with his team on the bird. We cut to Principal Yaga explaining Geto's ability, Curse Spirit Manipulation, an ability that allows Geto to absorb and control curses freely. He appears to be harvesting curses from his religious organization. Yaga believes that Geto may have 2,000 curses, but believes that they'll be on the weaker side, while Gojo does not believe that Geto would declare a war that he would lose. Yaga declares an all-out war and requests assistance from Jujutsu High alumni, the Big Three clans, and the other Jujutsu school. We cut to a scene of Geto revealing his true plan. He is aware that his curses will likely lose, but obtaining Rika will give him a 99% chance of success. Geto's plan is to corner and isolate Okoto, kill him, and absorb Rika under his command. Okoto and Maki are talking in the classroom of Jujutsu High, where Maki confirms why Geto referred to her as a monkey, despite being a sorcerer at Jujutsu High. This is because Maki is from the Big Three clans, but she can't see curses without her special glasses. Maki says her plan is to become a grade 1 sorcerer and destroy the Zenin clan from within. As the conversation ends, Geto draws a veil over Jujutsu High. We cut to the battle at Shinjuku, where Geto's curses and team members act as a distraction. We cut back to Geto summoning his curses to dispose of Maki. Ijichi approaches Gojo and whispers to him, which shocks Gojo. Gojo realizes that Geto is nowhere to be seen, and Gojo confirms that Maki and Okoto are in danger, and that he will be right with them once he disposes of the foreign sorcerer. He then teleports Panda and Inumaki to Jujutsu High. Geto's team realize that their plan has been exposed, and they engage in battle. The foreign sorcerer confronts Gojo, confirming that Gojo is also a special grade, along with Okoto and Geto. Inumaki and Panda appear at Jujutsu High and spot the veil. They land and immediately attack Geto. Panda and Inumaki land a combo and crush Geto into the ground, but their attack is unsuccessful. Geto rises from the ground with a swarm of curses around him. As Okoto arrives at the battlefield of Jujutsu High, he sees that Geto has gravely injured Inumaki, Panda, and Maki. Geto cries with joy at the sight of Jujutsu sorcerers saving each other to the point of self-sacrifice. Such respect and honor. The world Geto wished for exists now, right in front of Okoto's eyes. Okoto stands above the gravely injured Maki, with blood spilling onto the floor. Inumaki attempts to tell Okoto to run, however. December 24th, 2017. Special Class Vengeful Cursed Spirit Rika Orimoto. The second complete manifestation. Geto and Okoto lock eyes. I will kill you. Geto summons a swarm of baby-like curses as Okoto jumps into the air with his katana and Rika. Geto's strategy is to begin with quantity over quality to assess Rika's abilities. As Yuta lands, we see that Rika retrieves the injured Maki, Inumaki, and Panda. Okoto uses reverse curse technique to heal his comrades, but as Maki wakes up, she's quickly grabbed by Rika in a jealous rage. Okoto controls Rika by explaining that Maki is important to him, and that Rika needs to treat her as such. Okoto states that he hates Geto, and that he is their enemy. Rika states that she hates Geto too. Okoto asks why Geto stopped attacking, and Geto confirms that he allowed Okoto to heal his allies as reverse curse technique is a complex technique especially when applied to others. The battle continues, with Gakkō summoning a swarm of centipede curses as Okotsu stretches out his hand to grab a materialized megaphone in the air, bearing Inumaki's cursed speech markings on it. Die. The swarm of centipede curses is destroyed as the megaphone crumbles. As Okotsu praises Inumaki's usage of his cursed speech, Gakkō gets more excited at the prospects of capturing Rika. We switch back to the night parade of 1,000 demons, as we see Ijichi approach two girls, as other assistant directors are hanging in the background. They both explain that they believe in the world that Gakkō is creating, as they were treated horribly by the village due to their cursed abilities until Gakkō rescued them. Their conversation gets interrupted as Miguel, the foreign sorcerer, crashes into a building behind them, with Gojo appearing behind him, praising his resilience. Miguel hits Gojo with a mysterious rope, as Gojo confirms that it's interfering with his cursed technique. Miguel asks Gojo how many years do you think it took for the sorcerers of my country to weave this rope, but Gojo is not interested and says that he will destroy it in seconds. A giant curse approaches Gojo, but is instantly destroyed by a blast. Miguel recalls to Gakkō telling him about Gojo's technique, the Limitless, a curse technique that can manipulate space to an atomic level. As Gojo stares down Miguel, he says that it's Gojo's eyes that make his technique possible, and that Miguel needs 10 more minutes. Back to Yuta vs Gakkō. Gakkō summons a worm-shaped curse which spits out a 3-section staff. Gakkō states that he finds it strange that humans are at the top of the food chain, and that only the imaginary god is above them, while sorcerers exist without the need for imagination. Yuta tells Rika to match his movements as the pair clash with Gakkō in a flurry of strikes. Gakkō manages to deflect attacks from both Rika and Okotsu, but the clash of the ideology continues. Okotsu scolds Gakkō for being childish and trying to become a god. A giant tentacle curse grabs Okotsu as Gakkō's playful cloud hits his head, and as Gakkō attempts to follow with another hit, Rika moves Okotsu out of the way. Gakkō expands on his ideology, that he does not want to be adored, but he wants to choose people. The weak hide away the strong just because they're the majority, and sometimes even oppress the strong. Gakkō states that the insolence of the weak is unpleasant to the point of nausea. Okotsu does not reply, but attacks Gakkō again. Gakkō notices that Okotsu is moving faster, as Okotsu appears behind Gakkō, infusing his katana with curse energy to the point that the blade smashes from the amount of curse energy fueled into it. As Gakkō attempts to scold Yuta for not knowing this, Yuta connects with a massive punch, sending Gakkō across the floor. Yuta screams at Gakkō that he doesn't know the right answer, or what life is like for sorcerers outside of Jujutsu High, or if Gakkō is wrong or not, but for Okotsu to keep being friends with everyone and to keep thinking that it's okay to continue living, I have to kill you. Gakkō calls Okotsu an egoist and agrees with Okotsu that there is nothing more important than living. I shall kill you with my whole soul. Gakkō explains that there are only 4 humans classified as special grade, and 16 curses as he summons the special grade vengeful spirit Tamamo no Mei's avatar. Gakkō says that he will combine the remainder of his 4,461 curses in his possession into a single being and launch it at Yuta. Maximum technique, Uzumaki. Gakkō states that he is very happy that he has decided to kill Okotsu before he fully mastered Rika's power. Okotsu hugs Rika as she weeps. Okotsu thanks Rika for always protecting him, liking him, and asks Rika to lend her power for one last time. I want to stop this guy. I don't care for anything after that. I'll give you all of my future, heart and body. We're really going to be together forever from now on. I love you, Rika. Let's go together. As Okotsu kisses the curse of Rika. Rika screams out Yuta's name as a giant eye opens on her head as she acclaims her love for Okotsu. Gakkō realizes that Yuta is sacrificing himself to remove the limits of Rika's curse energy and accuses Okotsu of being a womanizer. As Rika charges a giant beam of curse energy, Okotsu says that this is pure love, as Gakkō states that he is on the side of justice. Their attacks clash, shaking the landscape of Jujutsu High as a giant explosion appears. We cut to a gravely injured Gakkō walking down an alleyway as we can see that he is missing an arm. He commends Rika's power as a power that can change the world. He says with the power of Rika he won't need to rely on other curses and that he will capture her next time. Gakkō says, "You're late," as we see Gojo appear. Gakkō sits down and is pleased but surprised that Gojo would checkmate him, and he asks Gojo about his comrade's safety. Gojo confirms that Geto's comrades ran away, same with the ones in Kyoto. Gakkō states that unlike Gojo, he is nice in comparison, and he asks Gojo if he sent Panda and Inumaki here to die, to push Okotsu into controlling his power. Gojo states that he did so out of trust, as he knew Geto wouldn't kill sorcerers for no reason. Geto laughs, as we see a brief flashback to him and Gojo as teenagers, with Geto being surprised that Gojo still had trust in him. Geto throws a card at Gojo, saying that he's returning this. Gojo sees Okotsu's student ID and asks if Geto was behind the cursed school incident, as Geto confirms that he was. Gojo says that he is a lost cause. Gojo asks if Geto has any last words. Geto says that no matter what anyone says, he hates all monkeys, but he never detested anyone from Jujutsu High. In a world like this, I can't laugh from my heart at all. As Gojo and Geto look at each other, Geto laughs and asks Gojo to curse him even a little bit just at the end. We cut to Panda, Inumaki, and Maki asking Yuta if he's okay. Yuta opens his eyes and sits up, noticing that his friend's wounds are healed, and Maki tells him to calm down as he is in a worse state currently. We see Rika waiting near Okotsu, as he apologizes for keeping her waiting. Okotsu confirms that he made a deal with Rika to go to the same place with her for using her power to defeat Geto. The group is shocked that Okotsu made this deal, as it means Okotsu will need to die. As Okotsu approaches Rika, her cursed spirit appearance reverts to her younger self. As the group stand confused, Gojo approaches while clapping and congratulating Okotsu on dispelling the curse of Rika. Gojo continues by saying that he was intrigued by Okotsu's theory that he was the one that placed the curse on Rika, especially since Rika is not from a family line of sorcerers. Gojo investigated Okotsu's lineage and discovered that he is a descendant of Sugawara no Michizane and is a distant relative to Gojo. The group is confused by this, and Maki explains that Sugawara no Michizane is one of the 3 great Japanese vengeful spirit, a very powerful sorcerer. Gojo confirms it was Okotsu that cursed Rika when she was hit by the car as he was rejecting Rika's death. Gojo continues by saying that Okotsu has released the curse on Rika and revoked his master and servant status. If the cursed spirit doesn't desire any punishment, then the dispel is complete. Okotsu cries as he apologizes to Rika for turning her into a curse and hurting people as a result. Rika hugs Yuta and thanks him for giving her more time and always being by her side. During these 5 years, she was happier than when she was alive. As Rika fades away, she tells Yuta not to cross to the other side too fast. We cut to a scene of Okotsu and Gojo walking, as Gojo reassures Okotsu that Geto wasn't his fault and that he would have approached Jujutsu High regardless. Gojo passes Okotsu his student ID, as Okotsu asks if Gojo found it. Gojo says that it was found by his best friend, the only friend he ever had, as we see Okotsu approaching Panda, Inumaki, and Maki with Rika's ring on his finger.